The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing. Here's your host, Matt Hansen.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Mastering Local Marketing podcast. We are actually going to do this one live on AM 1230 WJOB and 104.7 FM. And it is on May 1st of 2025, but this content is good. It's evergreen. It goes forever. And if you are watching, also, you can watch on Jed TV, on Amazon, Apple, Roku, and I don't know, I guess that's really where it's at. But the star of the show is sitting at the Johnny Carson desk, and that is Matt Hansen. Matt, how are you?
I'm good.
Matt Hansen is a digital marketing professor clinical professor at PNW. He holds a lot of other duties, but one of them is running the Digital Marketing International competition that was done right here in these studios on Saturday. How'd that go?
It was amazing. We had 189 schools or 189 teams from across the nation. We went beyond that. We had India and we had Malaysia and we had all kinds of international students as well. But overall, we had a local company, a local startup, and they received 189 different ideas of how to do their digital marketing moving forward. So just the amount of value in that, they receive research and all of these different ideas. I laugh when I give that back to them and I say, here's 189 videos to watch and all the content. Hope you have a great intern that wants to watch 27 hours of content.
I'll just say it straight out. I think that we would volunteer our Jed TV sports streaming network or our Jed TV podcast network for anything that you do, because we are all into free stuff, and you have offered to buy us new furniture. You don't like my couch.
You know what? I'm sorry. Everybody out there that can't see the couch, it's screaming at me every week. So
1970s, baby. I got it right out of 1970s.
Right. Well, we're gonna get a couple chairs right out of Amazon pretty soon.
So we are live on the radio and on TV, but most everybody will be listening later. We have a really cool guest, and you're going to do that introduction.
Outstanding. So we are here with Tatenda, Rukunda today, and Tatenda, I met you about a year ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so I've been watching Tatenda for the last year and what he's been doing. And today we're going to kind of talk about your journey and how it relates to marketing and business and all of those types of things. But we're going to share a lot of stories today. And, Tatenda does a lot of social content. So you've been doing it for about 41 weeks. I went back and kind of looked, and I saw the first post, and then there were a couple other posts where you were running, and then all of a sudden it switched.
Yeah.
So Tatenda has a story to tell, and I think a lot of us can relate to this, and I can relate to this, which is why you and I have gotten really close over the last year. And what we're calling this podcast today is what sobriety has taught me about starting a business. Right. So let's kind of go back and and talk about what inspired you to start sharing that side and those struggles that you went through.
It was kind of it was a lot. I mean, I didn't necessarily mean to actually start speaking out and telling my story, but it wasn't until I actually went on a date with this girl, and she was the first person that I ever opened up about like my sobriety and my journey to, because like before then, like stuff that I told her and stuff that I opened up about, like I didn't even tell my own parents, and like nobody knew, but I really liked this girl, so I was like, okay, yeah, like I felt safe with her, so I just opened up and just let it all go, and then she was like very like touched with it, and she was like, you should speak about this more, like to the masses, and like start a page. And at that time, I actually did start the page and everything, but I didn't take it seriously at all. And I was like, yeah, like I actually do that. And she was like, oh, like, no, you should, I'm touched by what you just told me. You should just start speaking about it more. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I'll think about it. And then so I started taking it a little more serious. Started recording a little bit of content here and there. And started posting a little bit more. And then, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, and, well, you say here we are, right?
Yeah.
And you've almost become kind of this micro influencer for a very unique niche in the space. And it's something that you and I have talked about. I come from a family where one side of my family has struggled with alcohol, and myself and my wife and my kids, we've kind of taken that and said we're not going to participate in that. Where I'm going with this is you spoke up, right? And there's a lot of people that are listening today that are afraid to get out there in front of a camera, are afraid to share what they want to share with different people. Even from a business side, they don't want to be the face of their company. They don't want to be the celebrity, that kind of thing. And when you went out there and you posted those first few videos, what was going through your head?
Kind of in the sense of like, I would post it and then just like kind of forget about it,
right?
And then like, because it was a separate page from like my personal page, so I was just like, okay, like I would just try not to think about it too much. And I just know that like whatever you do, whatever you post, whatever you say, like it can touch anybody, somebody. And so I just kind of thought about, okay, like this might be able to help somebody. So I just kept posting it and just wanted to see where it would go. And I kind of didn't care in the sense of what people thought, and that took some time to get over. But yeah, I just started to not really care what people would think that what I'm posting, and I just kept doing it.
Matt's going to want to know all about your strategy and your page and all that stuff. And I'm going to want to know the more human side of this. Okay. Have you been sober all along, or is this something that you came to, or sobriety? Tell us that part of it.
I officially got sober in January of 2023. And before then, it was just a lot of binge drinking, and I almost lost my life because of it. And so it got to a point where I either had to stop drinking or keep drinking, and eventually I wouldn't be here.
Were there drugs involved too?
Not much. I did dabble in a little bit of it, but alcohol was more of my pleasure.
So I'm sure you talk about this, but there had to be like a change moment or some sort of acceptance moment, or did it just happen gradually?
I've been wanting to stop for a while, and through that journey, I went through a couple of phases where I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop today, and then I would stop for like 3 days, and then I'd pick it back up, and it got to the point where the time that I actually did get sober, like I was like, okay, like I just sat and thought for a long time of like, do I actually want to do this? Can I actually do this? And I just had to commit to myself and commit to the journey that I had to do it. So I just committed to it.
So do you share that emotional and the psychological side on your content?
I do. I'm trying to mix it up right now. I mostly share like a lot of tips now. Some of my old content, I did share a lot of emotional, but I know emotion is good to show, so I want to show more of an emotional side. So I do show emotion, and I do share tips. I kind of want to share it all.
So from what I understand, it's more you've morphed into kind of coaching with your brand, and there's a lot of people that want to make that step out of drugs and alcohol and to live a sobriety-filled life. And I got, my buddy owns Doc's over here in Dyer, and he talks about that. He has a lot of people that come in that like used to drink and buy a bunch of booze. They come in and they eat, but now all of a sudden it is an entirely different culture, and folks are finding others that are also making that turn, if that makes sense. Yeah. So are you kind of plugging into some like phenomenon that's going on also?
Actually today I finally announced that I'm doing sobriety life coaching. So it is now live, and I'm taking sessions as of today, and moving forward. So yeah, so I have morphed into sobriety life coaching business, I guess you would say. It didn't start that way. It just seemed to go that way. So yeah.
Wow. So, perfect timing, right? And it's a good thing that we're live today. So
Right.
You want to tell people where they can find that?
Unhingedsanity.com.
Unhingedsanity.com. I think she's going to put that up there right now. Unhingedsanity.com. Is that your main website, or is that this brand new one?
That's the main website, yes.
Okay. So that's where you post all your content?
Primarily the content is on Instagram, and I also post on TikTok as well.
It's Unhinged Sanity on Instagram also?
Yep, Unhinged Sanity _ on Instagram.
Unhinged Sanity _ on Instagram. She's looking for it right now. She's going to post it on up there.
Cool.
So I know you've gone through and you've posted all of these videos. You've been, like I said, 41 weeks of content. You can see the journey as you're going through that. And I think a lot of the people that we bring on here, that we want to bring on here, is we want to see the journey from point A to point B. As you went through this, did you have a plan, or did you just start posting?
No, I did not have a plan. I mean, I kind of thought of a plan, but I didn't really sit down and say, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I just kind of just did it, you know? And then as the more I went on, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to actually come up with a schedule of I'm going to post this amount of times a week. I need to shoot this type of content. And yeah, so I kind of just started with no plan, and you have to build a plan eventually to grow. So,
right. Yeah. So you're basically busting all the theories out there that you have to have this social calendar, and you just winged it, right? And I think the beauty of it is it's authentic, right? So if you go through and you kind of watch the videos, you really understand it's you. There's no, we talk about influencers all the time, and I would consider you a micro influencer to a core group that are all looking for advice and inspiration. And you can see that through the comments and the amount of people that are liking and all these different things. But I think it's interesting how authentic it is, because it's just you. You can see, I was here, I'm now over here now, and everyone is, they're rallying behind you. So you've built kind of this crowd that listens to you, and they have conversations with you and all of that. And I think coaching, I know we had talked a couple weeks back about what's the next step, right? And we were sharing, there's actually a post out there right now, and I'm going to read it, the one that I sent you the other day. And it says, this is going around on social right now. It says, if you were the main character of a movie in your life, what would the audience be screaming at you to do? What is it, and what needs to change? And that was kind of the conversation that we had a couple weeks ago, because I knew you were kind of in an area where you're going, what's next? Yeah. And you said, I've got ideas, and I'm like, just let me know when you're ready. So I think it's really interesting that you went this direction. You walked in the other day, and we had conversations about it, and I was, biggest cheerleader. I'm go, right? When it comes to your community, is there certain content that they're looking for? Is it, are they looking for advice? Are they just looking for a role model? What is it? What is some of the content that resonates better than others?
I think it's kind of a mix of everything. I think a lot of the content I'm starting to notice now that people are engaging with more are stuff that they can relate to, because I'm starting to get a lot more followers that are already 3-6 months into their journey. And the content that I post is like, for example, if I say, oh, things that you notice on the sobriety journey is you start to lose friends. And then people are like, oh, that's true. Like, I'm 6 months sober and I lost a couple friends too. And I was like, okay. So I noticed that that type of relatable content is what is engaging the most. But the tips as well, because I do have some followers and I do have people in the community that like hearing the tips that actually they want to incorporate in their life as well. So I think it's a mix of both, and I try to keep both and everything in the mix. So,
Adriana, can you play one of those videos you were just showing there on with the? Let's see, here it is. Let's hear this one, and this is just you talking about it. How about right here? Let's do this one.
The truth, not only about yourself, but about the people around you.
Because when you choose to get sober, you're choosing to accept all the ugly parts about you, all your flaws, all your mistakes, everything you've done in the past. You're forced to look into the mirror and see yourself for who you really are. You're forced to want to get better. You're forced to accept change. And while the people around you, it shows people's true colors and the people that are willing to stick by your side through the dark times, through the hard times, through your worst times. It shows you who's willing to stick around and it shows you who's not. Because your so-called friends has no one to kick it with, to drink with, to party with, to be miserable with. Because at the end of the day, it shows you that misery truly does love company.
All right,
So
let's
always
stop it
remember
right there.
that sobriety
So
shows
you're
you the
talking
truth, not
about
only
that right
yourself.
there, and you're in a field, you've been able to set up decent sound there. I mean, we could ask how you actually did that and all that. Could hear a little bit of the wind, but you're getting to a kind of a highly emotional moment there. In terms of branding, is that part of your brand that you're going to open up yourself and that is going to make a connection with other people that are going through the same thing?
I would say, yeah. I would say that when I started it, I wanted it to be a clothing brand, an athletic gym brand. But
is that on there too? Did you? She was showing some of your. Do you have?
I have some running clips on there as well, but
yeah, no, but I mean, is that your body? Are you lifting that much?
yeah.
What's wrong? Were you like that when you were drinking?
No, I was not. No.
Can we see that like shirtless body? By the way, I mean, this is part of his branding. Hold on.
Sometimes I've been thinking the same thing. I mean, like,
can you put it on the screen here?
Really, if I didn't stop, like, the doctor was like, my liver was failing. So the doctor can't liquor. Yeah.
No beer.
Yeah.
That was liquor. Oof, that's what gets you.
So the doctor was like, yeah, bro, if you don't stop now, like, you're gonna die.
5-10 years, you're gone.
You're gonna die.
All right, there it is. That's good enough.
So what he's saying is you're not getting that from spin class, right?
No. I mean, you could.
I told these guys we had to go because I tried to make a spin class after this thing and they're laughing at me. But, so there is the property of Unhinged Sanity, and that is some of your athletic apparel right there. You selling any?
Yeah, it's available today. I just released and made everything live today. So
all right, so there it is. So that you could actually go there and buy that.
Yep.
So I'm curious. I know that Matt's, excited about the movement and what you're doing, and I'm just curious about the strategy. I mean, is there one? Is there a branding strategy? Where do you see yourself fitting in on the because there's a lot of sobriety podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. After you said that, I went and looked. What's going to bring people and make you different?
I think what makes me different, or what would make me different, is just myself. I mean, people like who they're attracted to, or who they want to be like, or who they see their life, who they want their life to look like. And I think that what would make me different is just myself, and then just the people that like my content, that like me, that want to be like me or have a life better than me. I think that's what would make me different. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I'm sure there's ways that I could make it different and get people on the brand and the community, but I think it's just me, to be honest.
I think it's the authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So we go back to the videos. You're sitting at what appears to be at the dunes, right? Something by Lake Michigan. I joked as I walked in today, I saw the Buick, your studio out there that you shoot a lot of your videos in, right?
Yeah.
So it's the authenticity. It's the fact that if you go through all of those videos, we really do get to know who you are. And you don't have a studio, you don't have big budgets, you don't have all of this stuff. It is the authenticity that is coming through. I'm shooting it in my car. I mean, I would say, 60, 70% of the videos are shot from your car.
Yeah.
The rest are, at the dunes or somewhere where you're out working out. But I think that is the brand because, you mentioned sobriety podcasts, and there are a bunch of them out there, and a lot of them I guarantee are completely polished and big budgets and all this other stuff. And really, I think you understand your core audience. Your core audience is looking for the authenticity, somebody that they can connect with. And if it's a big, huge brand and I don't have the ability to talk with you or to even get a response from you when I put a comment or something out there. Like I notice how you're responding to these people and saying, keep doing this and all. Like that is so much more valuable than going and buying a huge, expensive camera and getting a studio and all this other stuff, right? So I think people are buying into that, and I think that is an angle that don't ever lose that. No matter where this coaching goes, and I know we've had multiple conversations about all of that, but I think you found a pain point that somebody's struggling with. You are the solution because you're the one that's there to provide that value back to them, to provide insights. I've got another buddy of mine that kind of runs an AA group, and it's I've met some wonderful people that I've done work with. My garage door guy, is an amazing individual, and like we all talk and we all have conversations. So what you've developed is this little group of individuals that all communicate and support each other. And that's what people are looking for. It's not, let me sell you a book or something like that. And we had those conversations a couple weeks ago, like what's that next step? And I was really excited to hear that it went to coaching. So, the other thing is, as we go forward, right, as you start talking about coaching with these individuals, how are you setting that up to start to listen to what is next, right? So you've gone from, I'm on Instagram and TikTok providing video content that people are really resonating with, to now I'm going to start coaching. What's that next step, or how are you going to understand where that next step is going to lie?
I listened to you, so you said listen to your audience. That's one of the big things you got to do. But I think I'm gonna just start here, and I know the next step I want to do like group sessions. I have a bunch of ideas. I want to set up events every year. I want to do like a sober day where like families, friends, kids, everybody can just come out. We can do like sober activities. We can work out, have runs, all that type of stuff, and like just get together and have fun sober. Because I know in the sober community, people are like, oh, like sobriety is boring, but I want to be able to show that like there's a fun side to it. Mm-hmm. And I want to start having like sober days. And I know we talked about a podcast as well, and I do want to. I'm planning on starting that as well too. So it's just I'm just taking it one step at a time, just to see like what lanes will open up, what sounds better, and how I can go about it. So
okay. So you say you've got these plans for other things, and we say this often on this podcast, not to go out and do everything all at once, right? Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, you have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
But the content's not there, right?
No.
All right.
No.
So you made the decision pretty quickly to say, all right, I'm going to focus on just these two platforms, and you've seen drastic increases. I think you're at almost 7,000 on Instagram at this point in 41 weeks, which is phenomenal, right? Where do you see that going in the next year? So you got the coaching, and I'm assuming you're going to probably start putting ad dollars in front of that somewhere.
I mean, yeah, potentially, yeah. I want to start collabing with other people as well too, to see like just to mix audiences and see who we can reach with each other, and just kind of grow as a collective and as a community. I want to just start collabing, and I just want to just get out there,
Yeah, I think that the collaboration is key, right? So we talk about that a lot, and I think pretty much every podcast we're talking about partnering and kind of figuring out who to go with. But as you move forward, I'm rooting you on. I think you're doing some phenomenal things. But I think kind of to summarize where you've been, you found a pain point. We talk about pain points often on this podcast. You found a pain point that people are struggling with, and you're solving it for them, right? So you're providing that ear, that voice that they're looking for.
Can I?
Yep.
What would you define as the pain point?
Just something or someone that's raw. People that don't like to put a lot of filter on things, and that's one thing that I like doing as well, because I've seen a lot of content, and I've watched a lot of people that put a lot of edits and filters on things, and I don't like that. I like being just straight up, straight to the point, and just keeping it real. And I think that's what the authenticity Matt's talking about, and I think that is the pain point for me.
So I guess what I kind of see as your pain point in this brief thing is, you probably don't even know this. I used to be a counselor on addictions out here in Maryville.
Okay.
And one of the things that I was always impressed upon is that, a lot of people try to make the shift out of alcohol or heroin or whatever it might be. And the pain point isn't as much as I would see actually doing it is like, how do you feel your life after that?
Yeah.
To me, that is what I see as the pain point. Now, am I seeing that? I mean, am I seeing that clearly?
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that. I mean, people come out of alcohol or drugs, gambling, whatever it might be. That's part of being sober. And then all of a sudden they got, their old friends aren't there. Their old ways, what do you do at nighttime? All of that kind of stuff. That's the part you're trying to fill, right?
Yeah. I would say that it's a slow game. I would say sobriety is a slow game. And the more that you keep doing it, because you're not going to see changes overnight. It's just the more that you keep going and the more that you want to further the journey. I think that turnaround point too, it's scary. It's scary to think about, and it's scary to see where you think you're going to go. And it's scary to think about, but it's also good, because once you cut out all the bad habits and drinking and the drugs, I think only positives will happen. Because once you fill in your life with alcohol or drugs or anything negative, only everything negative happens. I think once you cut it out, only positive. It's only up from there.
I think one other area that you have to look at too is that talking about it, the comfort of talking about it, to say that, I'm sober, and it's sometimes hard to pull that out of people to actually talk about it. It's this taboo, but it should be a celebration. It should be, I've moved past that. I'm going off to do better things. I mean, I've seen people go through withdrawals. It is not a pretty, it is not pretty at all. So, I think that's the hard part, is changing the mindset, the perception of individuals, because they think, this is a bad thing. But in reality, it's a positive thing. And what you're trying to do is, and I can see it through the videos, is it's a celebration of, I know you're going through this, but let's talk about it, right? And, people just, they think it's taboo. And again, I've seen it in friends and family and everything else. And it really is, it's a difficult conversation. But I think you've given the voice. And that's where, you found an itch, and, it's just a natural fit, right?
So from a marketing standpoint, what do you want to highlight here out of what Tatenda's doing?
Yeah, it's, understanding, finding a pain point, finding your audience, and getting your audience to rally behind you, right? So providing the right content. Everyone just wants to post things on social. Right.
Yeah.
Here's my product. Here's what I'm selling. Here's a picture of me. And, you could have done that. You could put pictures of yourself and whatever else. But every video is another lesson. So it's almost like you're going to school when you listen to your content. I heard they're doing events in New York now where they have professors going to bars to give lectures. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. But, they're telling, informing the public of things, right? And I know that's not, that those two don't necessarily match because it's in a bar, but but what I'm saying is people want to learn something, and instead of just posting pictures or videos that are just irrelevant to others, what you're doing is you're attacking a different pain with each one. So people are listening. They're tuning in. They're like, oh, there's another one. And I found myself at this point now, like as I'm scrolling through, I see another one. I hit play every single time. That's what you want to do in your audience, right? So I think the other thing is you don't have big budgets. You shoot from your car. You shoot from, sand dunes.
It's tight.
Right? You shoot, there's a couple of you running down the street, hopefully not getting run over, right? Like, you don't need big budgets. You're shooting from your phone. Even the audio levels are fine. I mean, you use a couple different tools. Do you want to touch on what some of the tools are that you use behind the scenes?
Just CapCut. You can do it straight from your phone. CapCut is a big thing. I know I was kind of upset when they, because when TikTok was going through the whole it's banned and ByteDance, CapCut was a part of that, and I was freaking out because I was like, oh, that's the main thing I use to edit. But no, it looks like it's gonna be here for a while, and CapCut's one of the main things that I do, and Procreate as well, just to I made my logo on Procreate.
Just CapCut. There's other ones too that it makes it real easy to. And if you really want to go deep, the AI will take it over, boom, and just throw it everywhere, which we learned at the podcast conference, how far they had gone along. So you're really helping to solve some problems of filling I would say it's a kind of a movement at this point, would you say?
I'll say,
yeah. I just did my 3.5-hour radio show, and I had on as one of the guests somebody who's presenting their pitch competition here in these studios where Matt Hansen lives.
Feels like it.
Yeah, it feels like it. But he puts together events that are, what does he call it? Can you show that website again? The Clean and Pure, and that you can go there and there's not violence against women in the lyrics, and they put out music, and there's not a lot of drinking in that. I don't know if it's banned, but it's certainly not highlighted. And the whole idea is to live more purely and not to, put, basically GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. It's kind of, I think, how he's looking at it. And it's called Jam House right there. So I think he's plugging into that also, that people want to live more cleanly.
Yeah. I think it's becoming more normal now. Like, people are starting to realize that, like, drinking every other weekend is not, like, it's not fun, it's not healthy. And I think people are starting to notice that, especially the younger generation as well. I think we're starting to think that we want to be healthy, we want to live long, we want to actually, hit 30 and feel good, but I'm not 30 yet, but I do see that change, that people are starting to think that way. So
cool. Anything else?
No, I think that wraps it.
Thank you, Tatenda, for making a drive down here.
Thank you guys for having
You're
me.
always welcome. I know that Adriana Alvarez is a student here at PNW, and she runs our podcast network, and I'm sure she would like to...
if you want to start up your podcast, let me know.
All right, yeah. We can talk about it.
You got a place right here. You could actually record right after us here on Thursdays, or better yet, when this goes into my spin class, you could actually host with him and let me go to spin class.
There you go. There's Jim, always selling. Gotta love it.
ABS, baby. Matt Hansen is clinical professor, and Tatenda has Unhinged Insanity. It's Tatenda Rukunda,
yep.
Rukunda, and but it's Unhinged Insanity.
Sanity.
It's Unhinged Sanity
There we go.
_ on Instagram. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
The Mastering Local Marketing Podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.